Hello, welcome in ShawScope. How's it going? I'm
Right.
Jack Codibao. He is.
Jelly Koch.
And down there.
Crybaby Wang Yu.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whiny little bitch is who you are today.
Yes, yes. This is true. So this is because we're talking about the trilogy of Temple of the Red Lotus, the Twin Swords, and Sword and the Lute. Going from 65 to 67, right? So we'll get to this a little bit, I think, when we get to Twin Swords, because I'm still not entirely sure what all this burning of the Red Lotus Temple stuff is all about. And I think we might have to do a bit of a not in ShawScope. As part of the mop-up.
Well, on a bit of reading, I think, because all I really know of Red Lotus Temple is these and Burning Paradise.
Yes.
And the one through line between those two things are corrupt monks. Temple gets destroyed by righteous people.
Right. But trying to look it up is a bit of a...
Yeah.
There's not much at all, really,
No.
in English at least. So I don't know if this is a cinematic construction or... There's got to be something historical somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But I'll be buggered if I know what it is yet. So anyway, yes, whiny bitch, Wang Yu.
These are all directed by the same director, right?
Yeah, Shu Cheng Hung, right? Who later on co-directed Zatoichi and the One-Armed Swordsman.
Oh,
yeah, I caught that.
Okay. I did not caught that. Okay, awesome.
Scripted by Shen Chang. And with so this first one.
Well, and there's another credit that's interesting in Temple of Red Lotus, which is Chang Che.
Right.
Banning by Chang Che.
Yes. A little bit before he becomes Chang Che, isn't it?
Yeah.
By the time the trilogy ends, Chang Che has become Chang Che.
Well, I think this is not far off the time he's making Tiger Boy. I think.
So Tiger Boy, speaking of Tiger Boy as well, we were going to devote part of an episode to talking about this lost film. But we're not going to do it because I have it on very good authority. Tiger Boy exists.
Yeah, I've heard it exists. I heard it's in the vault.
I've met someone who's seen it.
Oh. Are they coming on?
More than that, they're going to be putting it out, apparently. If all things go well, Tiger Boy will be getting a release of some sort. Now, the person who saw it told me, it's actually not that interesting or great, but still, chance to be able to see the kind of original Wang Yu vehicle.
Yeah. And it's unique in that the one thing that leaps out, well, two things that are really, really unique about Tiger Boy that I'm leaping ahead if we're going to talk about it again is...
No, we won't, because we will, but when we've seen it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll form a useful trailer anyway. So Tiger Boy is the only film that Chang Che himself choreographed the action for. And it's also black and white. So I'm told.
Okay.
Which, again, is unusual for films of this period from this studio with the people who are involved in. So
interesting.
So it's interesting in that way. But again, I think there's so much mythology around Tiger Boy that we might whack it in the Blu-ray player and find out that it's a technicolor feature.
Yeah,
right.
Just because,
There's no way it'll ever live up to.
No. No, well, and it's a film of this period, and it's early, very early Chang Che and very early Wang Yu.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I am interested just on the choreography side.
Yeah,
I'm very
it could just
interested.
be Wang Yu and Vincent Price in a kitchen cooking potatoes.
Well, that's it, exactly. They've caught a tiger and a boy, and they're just gonna slice him up.
With some potatoes.
Marinade.
Potatoes. Yes. So who wants to do the plot? And that's a way of saying I'm not doing it.
The thing that's challenging about Red Lotus Temple is that it really is the first half of a film, right?
Yeah. Or
I mean,
third, even.
I don't. I kind of disagree. I feel like the last film, Sword and the Lute, is its own thing. It clearly has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah, and it's the story's kind of complete by the time we get to the end of the second film, anyway, isn't it?
Certainly, Wang Yu's journey to like his his damp squib of a revenge, which is hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, he can't even really be a man when right at the end of Twin Swords, can he?
No, he needs his auntie to hold his hand, literally. But no. So I mean, really, it's quite difficult in a way to disentangle Red Lotus from Twin Swords. They're just really one 3-hour film. It's like The Godfather, just half.
Well, not a great deal happens in Red Lotus Temple, if we think about it. There's not really, it's kind of just introducing characters.
Yeah, it's really, you're right. It's really setting up the action for the second film.
Yeah.
But basically, okay. I mean, I can try. But Wang Yu shows up to Wang Yu's dad has been murdered at some point previous, right? He spent 10 years training. Not that you can tell. He spent 10 years training to get revenge. He shows up to the home of his betrothed, right? He's been promised to marry this young lady. On the way there, he kind of she's cute and much
punching above his weight is this version of Wang Yu.
This version of Wang Yu, yeah. And what I like about it as well is that Jinping's family have no compunction about telling him how much they think he's a weakling, he's useless, they don't want him married.
Yep.
And they're right.
Yeah. No, I mean, he has to have stipulated after this that I never want to play this kind of role again, right? Wang, because it's truly. I mean, for me, it was a great pleasure. Actually, it's like finding some Clint Eastwood movie where he's like a simpering, cuckold. Like, I mean, I think I wrote down this as my overall description of the film: sniveling snowflake cuck Wang Yu stars in this feminist woke wuxia trash.
It's not trash. I like this.
No, which is to say that I actually love this film so much.
It's a bit like saying Charles Bronson as the hunchback in House of Wax, isn't it, when he's younger?
No, I love this. I mean, I love particularly. So I mean, basically, he ends up he believes his wife's family are bandits, right? So, and this kind of precipitates his decision to take his new young wife. He kind of tries to convince her that, your family, they're bad people. They attacked me on the road with a dart and they were robbing somebody. It turns out that this is all not really true, that they're actually kind of an undercover secret agent family almost, working against another, like the group of monks, right? And they're actually the bad guys. But in any case, most of the film really is them attempting to leave the family compound.
Yes.
Right. So basically, Wang Yu is like, I've got to go and continue my quest for vengeance, and I don't trust that your family's not bad people. And she is kind of very recalcitrantly, agrees to finally to go with him. And then most of the film is them trying to get out and having to face like a series of bosses, that become increasingly difficult to get past. But it's just her. It's all the women in her family because all the men are gone. I can't remember where they are. They're off doing they're off fighting the bad guys in some other situation. And so so basically Wang Yu is forced and his new wife are forced to kind of contend with each of the women in the family as they try to leave.
Well, they have to fight them, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they lose every fight.
Yes.
Yeah. even the one against the granny.
Yeah, and yeah, maybe the only one they don't lose is the one against the 8-year-old niece,
Yeah.
who is the best end boss because she just cries at them and really
Yeah.
makes them feel bad.
Yeah.
Let us not forget as well that lurking in a love triangle style is
Ooh.
Loli.
Yes, yes. Who is a real man? He's
Well, it's
definitely.
interesting, isn't it? Because it's pre-Frog Spawn Loli, and
Mhm.
it's interesting to compare that with its pre-Wang Yu becoming Wang Yu. So it's one of the few times you'll see, you know, Loli kind of outmanning Wang
Mm.
Yeah.
Yu in terms of screen power. I'm sure in real life,
Yeah.
you
Oh
certainly
no,
wouldn't want to fight with Loli.
he's
But
definitely dashing in this, isn't he?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, he's still handsome.
Mm.
Mm. And quite sweet. He has her handkerchief and stuff. It kind of plays into the second film more.
I know that's sweet. That's a bit creepy,
Maybe.
Yeah, it's quite creepy.
but
Um,
it's
But
interesting in
these
so
are
much as I was just going to say the thing with this film is it's not a bad watch. It's not a chore of a watch or anything, but it definitely is the on ramp for Twin Swords, right?
mm.
Like, and I was just wondering how it played originally, because now you can slap the next one on straight away, right? But to watch this and then you can imagine some people maybe like, I'm not going to bother with the sequel because that first one was a bit slow and not that much happen, and they would miss out because, for me at least, Twin Swords is the one.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's the one
definitely.
where
Yeah.
everything happens, really, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Twin Swords is all the action that isn't
Yeah, and then Sword
in
and the
Red Lotus
Loot is
Temple.
yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
But I'll tell you something that leapt out at me, and I'm going to go into the kung fu genre now rather than the Shaw genre that this is about. But the trope that this film is either using or creating of people in a family's, a clan's kind of fortress, possibly under false pretenses, and having to get out via going in different rooms, fighting different bosses, right? Which arguably is related to the Bronze Men, so that Shaolin trope where you have to go through
Yeah.
various rooms. You see that there's certain kung fu films, at least in the 70s, where that's a major feature. So I'm thinking particularly Shaolin Mantis and Legend of a Fighter, actually. Exactly the same thing happens and takes up exactly the same sort of amount of time in the film as well. Shaolin Mantis, David Chiang's got to fight all the family on his way out, and the same happens to, well, it must be Leung Kai-yan in Legend of a Fighter, right? And like at this point, decades after this is made. So I do wonder how much of a trope that particular feature of the film is
Right.
before then, or whether this is something in the wuxia genre, in literature, or where it's coming from, what it is,
Well-
because it's very, very familiar territory.
The thing is, as well, there is this burning of the Red Lotus Temple series of silent films, right? From 1928 to 1931, which are now totally lost, apparently. But I get the feeling that if it's a series of films, I'm wondering if it's this story again, rather than just it's the family versus the monks and then the
Yeah.
aftermath. And again, that's why I'm interested in looking into what is this burning temple of the Red Lotus? What is this story? And does it always involve this family, or is that a thing they added here? Or it's a very difficult thing to get your head around, at least if you're searching in English. So
Yeah.
if anyone does know, please let us know,
yeah,
because we
tell
would
us.
like to know this.
Yeah, and the other thing I think that this reminds me of, I've got no evidence for it, is this is swashbuckling and wuxia as it is, and that's what wuxia is, as a swashbuckler more than anything, right? It also felt like a serial, like a Flash Gordon
Okay.
serial, or like a...
So that's interesting because I was just going to say apparently, and I read a review that said the Scarlet Maid character that basically is deployed as like a secret weapon almost right throughout the film. Ivy Ling
Deus
Poe,
Ex Machina, just plonked at
yeah, like Ivy Ling Poe appears at certain times. Apparently, this character, the Scarlet Maid, was a silent serial character.
Well, it might be that Burning of the Red Temple series then. that might be
Okay.
considered a serial. I don't know. But certainly when we get to Twin Swords, that is a serial.
Yeah.
Which is why I liked it so much, because I grew up watching serials weirdly. But
I really liked, the fact that really the women are like front and center in this film, like more than even in the sequels, I think. Although I would argue that in a strange way, maybe the most radical move is in the last film where they hand the reins of the entire film over to the 11-year-old niece, which is really...
Yeah, but that's happening in Twin Swords as well.
It is, yeah. It's kind of a slow process of like
Yeah.
movie by movie, she gets more screen time and is given more to do. But yeah, this scene of like, this gauntlet, Pao Shu Kao, right? She, as always, we know I have a thing for her, so I'm always happy to see
We
her.
all have a thing for her, Nick.
She's a little bit less mean in this one. She's a little bit more more of the kind of the long-suffering sad aunt rather than the rage-filled monster we normally see. But yeah, I mean, just that series of them one by one facing off against the women of the household, including Granny, and having their asses handed to them, and having to go down
to
to
that
the...
as well, we should not, we haven't brought up the name yet, but amazingly, really, we shouldn't overlook the majestic Ivy Po.
Yeah.
As well. And a fantastic murder LUTE, which is
She doesn't show up in the first film.
what kind of... It's funny.
No, there's a sequence.
We're going to jump back and forth a bit, I think, because it's kind of difficult to talk about each one individually. And so the one thing the Sword and the LUTE has going for it, for me, is we get her demonstrating her murder LUTE in Twin Swords.
Yes.
But it's deployed.
Yes.
In
Sword
and LUTE. And for me, that was the saving grace of that film, because otherwise it was a little bit boring and superfluous. But at least you did actually get to see it take out some people, whereas it's just like a training scene.
It goes full Django, right?
Yeah, but there's also a really fucking cool scene right at the end of Sword and the LUTE, where again Deus Ex Machina Evelyn Poe comes in and rescues everyone, and that is a fucking fine piece of action cinema, which I'm sure we will discuss in a bit. But
I think it's called an IV Ex Machina. I think it's called.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because she is there for no fucking reason. She just does a bit of exposition here and there, and then rescues them when they're out of their depth. That's all she's there for.
So let's go there then. Let's see. So yes, so Temple of the Red Lotus, nice little setup, not a bad watch.
And it ends with Wang Yu and Jinping leaving, and then they do fight. They have their first kind of fight against the fake monks, right, at the Red Temple, and they are saved by Ivy Poe. Right, and then that's kind of the end.
It's still edging. Twin Swords is the money shot at last.
Yes. But what's nice is the next one begins over the credits scene. We see the last 5 minutes of the previous film.
To be honest, you don't really need to see Temple of the Red Lotus. However, if you're a Shaw kind of fan, I think you owe it to yourself to actually watch all three films, because
Yes.
But if you're a bit strapped for time, and yes, I would say Twin Swords is your one you want to go for, right? That's the one. If you're dying of a rare jungle disease and you only have a certain amount of time left, skip Temple, go straight to Twin Swords.
Yeah, this is the one with all the violence in it.
All the traps.
Lots of the traps, fantasy elements. Yeah. And again, this is what makes me say serial as well, because it's all, oh my god, this character's dead. Oh no, hang on.
Yes. They even throw in some fucking Mission Impossible masks as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And there's the incredible model work scene with the tiny little Ivy Poe jumping down the mountainside, which is weird.
No, Nick, that was real.
Oh,
that was real. That was Ivy Poe.
Okay.
Yeah, because Ivy Poe can do stuff. Apropos of nothing in the recording, so this might come out of nowhere, but I have a feeling, was Carry On Up the Khyber
racist?
No, hang on. No, I got confused. I was going to say, was Carry On Up the Khyber the one Carry On film that was released without the Carry On suffix? But I think prefix. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was follow that camel. Carry on,
Yes.
follow that camel.
Yes.
Oh, yes, it would. And that's the one with Phil Silvers in, isn't it?
So is that even a proper
Yeah, I think it's a carry-on film.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gav would?
I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I forgot that one existed, actually.
I think it came up when we read the the Diaries of Kenneth Williams, Clive. I'm sure it came up in there as being an official carry-on film. It just didn't have the carry-on name for some reason.
Right.
Anyway, Twin Swords.
Yes.
So it's funny we didn't
Carry
mention
on, Twin Swords.
Swords.
That's it.
We didn't mention there's a character I quite like in the first two films. He is the kind of Tomisaburo Wakayama looking Red Lotus guy who's really he's a sex addict and he's got like a sex dungeon.
Oh, yeah.
Kidnaps.
Yeah, there's a nice bit of torture at the end of Red Lotus Temple, isn't there?
Yes,
That always
and
sneak past you, their viewers, but get your bingo cards out. That was
exactly.
Yeah.
And also, there's a statue in that first one too that apparently has arms that can kind of the golden arms that come alive and grab people, but it's just clearly people in like rubber gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that's all right.
But it's
yeah,
cool.
and again, you get the. But I do like the way Red Lotus Temple sets up dungeon traps.
Yeah,
because there's a little bit of traps at the end, isn't there?
And it turns out we don't learn till the second film that apparently all the real monks are still in the temple. They've all been locked up downstairs in.
Yeah. But it's a different temple, isn't it? So the temple in the first film is a different temple
than the one
in the second temple. Second film. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think they burn that down. No, they don't burn it down at the end, do they?
No.
But it's a different temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of this, it begins with, as we said, with the last 5 minutes of the first film, and then Wang Yu and his much cooler. Is she his wife? Did they actually get married? I can't remember now in the first film.
Yes, they did, because they went through that whole rigmarole of it being ordained by one of
right. So
one of the
so yeah, they leave, and almost immediately the bad guys have this plan of like, well, we're gonna trick them and capture them again by sort of faking like a kidnapping, right? Or
which is exactly what the family, the goodies, did at the start of Red Lotus Temple.
Yes.
So you wouldn't think they'd fall for it, would you?
Right. But they do. And then and Wang Yu immediately is like, oh, we shouldn't get involved. And he's basically humiliated into doing something by his wife, who's like, for God's sake, they're clearly kidnapping those women. And, but it turns out he was actually right in the one instance in the entire three films where Wang Yu is correct. So she then gets captured. And then he spends most of the second film kneeling outside of the family house going, please help my wife, who I've immediately taken away against your best, against your wishes, and have lost right away. And the family's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, and they refuse as well.
Yeah,
and
they
it's
do.
Lo Li, isn't it? It's Lo Li steps up.
Yes.
Iman is hanky.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think my description of this film, my one-line description of this film is friend-zoned Lo Li makes the ultimate sacrifice.
Well, that's the thing, spoiler alert, but yeah, Seat Sniffer Law ends up with severed head, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's some nice little bits of violence in this as well. It's like him getting stuck with all the arrows. Yeah. So he just falls into a trap. One of the hundreds of traps that are in this film, in this temple they've taken over. And they're all telegraphed as well, these traps, aren't they? Because they're like, before anyone falls into the traps, there's a bit of exposition with the monks chatting amongst themselves, going, right, this trap, right, if you step on this tile, this comes out, and then arrows come out, and
But it doesn't
so he gets caught in a net.
at all, does it? It's kind of it's a nice it's got a very definite rhythm. This film on its own, isn't it? You wouldn't say
this film is.
It wouldn't say it's like a slam bang, exciting thriller nail biter. It takes its time, but it's. I don't know. It feels like a proper. That's why I think of Red Lotus as an on ramp and the other one as an off ramp a bit, because this is the one that it's just. It's just bang on all the way through.
Well, but it's just action the whole fucking time as well. There's hardly any. Okay, you've got the bits with Wang Yu kneeling outside
Crying.
the family home, but they're over quick enough for you to get
Hmm.
back into a temple with someone trapped somewhere with some poison gas,
Yes.
and the little kid gets a magic sword.
Yep. The
Yeah,
fish
and
intestine sword, or the it's one of the names apparently it has, and but yes, it can cut anything.
yeah.
In case I'm
and yeah,
driving anyone with obsessive compulsive disorder to madness, by the way, I am going to be eating throughout this whole episode, so I can only apologize.
that's all right. It keeps him quiet, see.
Well, no, it like gives them a chance. Oh.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
yes. No, but I think, yeah. So it's very long story short. Loli gets completely brutalized. They send back his head, and then the whole
Not
family
just send
finally.
it back. That seems fantastic when one of the lead monks shows up at the window with this bag with
Just
Loli's,
lobs it.
and he loves it, and he goes hee hee, like he gets a little, like a little giggle, and then disappears into the night, and the family's
Yeah.
like, "Fuck."
Yeah. And then they're all about going to the temple and rescuing Chimping,
Even though
which they completely fail to do.
she had, I mean, because the thing is, like, she has left of her own volition, so there is a whole argument about, like, no, she made the choice. She made the choice to leave the family, and she's no longer a member of this family. It's a very kind of Confucian, like, she had her chance to be part of our family, but then basically, again, the women, although all being terrifying hard asses, all have soft hearts, right? That's kind of an element of both the first two films, right? So they can be prevailed upon.
Well, they have empathy. They have empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like men
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Yes,
And then
exactly.
the rest of the film, apart from one significant interlude, is them the whole family being trapped in the temple. The kid, then Wang Yu rescuing them, then Ivy Ling Po rescuing them when they fuck up again. And it's fucking great. And Ku Feng is good. Is an early role, sort of not leading role, but kind of supporting role for Ku Feng in this as well, isn't it? Because he's one of the brothers, and he kind of dies this heroic death, I think, in a pool or something, doesn't he?
Yes.
In like a trapped pool. Yeah.
With all of the knives, yeah, the pool full of knives.
That's
It's
it,
worth
yeah.
mentioning as well, the little girl character is actually quite well drawn. It's not just, thrown in there. Like, in relation to the stuff with the women and stuff as well, it's interesting because she's clearly like a little bit of a tomboy character. So, and she's clearly torn between, at that point in her development, she's kind of identifying more with the men in a way, because she hasn't become a woman yet, right? So she doesn't get why all the other women are doing all these things, because she's not that yet, right? She will become that. So it's kind of it's a subtle little thing, but it's quite nicely drawn.
It's also an interesting sort of culture, no doubt a fantasy culture that they're reflecting, which is where, you've got, we later find out in the next film that this little sword that she gets given, what's it called? The fish
intestine.
bone. Yeah. Fish
intestine sword.
That's it, yeah.
It kind of wiggles. Yeah.
Yeah. Is like the only weapon that can defeat, the MacGuffin of the next film, right? That's the only thing that can defeat it. And this is entrusted to the 11-year-old kid. And it's an interesting culture that they're displaying there, where predominantly everything we've seen of that family are the various matriarchs of the family. And, the one of the main heirlooms of the whole clan, one of the magic MacGuffins, the few magic MacGuffins that they own, is given to this little girl. So I find that really, really interesting, that kind of that culture exists within this kind of fantasy family where the young are given the power to essentially rescue the whole clan, which she ends up doing.
Yeah, well, that's why I brought it up, because I think that character is odd, because it's very easy to overlook that character, isn't it? Like, it's very easy if you're thinking in terms of Shaw Brothers putting out material to appeal to the masses, Friday night, Saturday night, big hit film. Oh, what should we do? Oh, we'll do the temple story. Oh, we will have Wang Yu. We don't know who he is yet. We'll put him in the pussy role. Loli, he's good looking. They don't know what's going to happen a few years later. We'll have him as the dashing hero. Jinping, she's hot as fuck. We can all agree as that. But and then chuck a kid in, chuck a kid in. But no, it's not that. It's. I think it's a very deliberate bit of casting.
So yes, the Bobo Fung, right, is and she's still working.
Yeah, she's instantly familiar. She's one of those people who has a face that hasn't changed over the years. Like obviously she looks a bit older, but I immediately was like, oh, hang on, I know her. Like
she's about, didn't she? Yeah. And at one point she just like casually lops this monk's arm off as well, doesn't she, with that sword?
Yes.
Actually,
nice bit of bright to go, isn't it? Though.
Yeah.
In this film is the first one where I was like, oh, like she's fully engaged in the fight scenes, and they're not holding back in terms of like the cinematic action. Like she's properly getting attacked and having to fend for her life. Yeah. And I was like, it reads kind of almost shocking.
They like those bits. They like the go bits in early Hammer films where they have, where it's like, it's only just a few seconds or something. Roy Ashton's gone in there with his
bright red.
Yeah. It's just there we go. It's memorable, and you'll talk about it, and in years to come, it'll. Oh, do you remember that really gory scene? And
I think in the first one there's a scene that blew my mind where somebody just sticks a sword in someone else's mouth and then turns it to the side, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah, no, I mean, this film is violent as fuck as well.
Yeah.
But it's somehow it's violent
well, right? So
but somehow it's violent in a wholesome way.
Yes.
It's violent. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like it's family violence.
It's violence in the same way as Temple of Doom is gore and casual racism for the whole family.
Well, yes. And then, kind of in the middle of all this, where because it's the rest of the film before the crescendo at the end is kind of, it's all about traps. There's some poison gas. There's going to be arrows coming out of you if you step in the wrong tile. People keep getting captured and escaping. Everyone thinks Jinping's dead. She's not dead because it's a mask they put on someone else who they killed for some reason.
That's very Mission Impossible.
Yes. Exactly. But then in the middle of it, you get this tiny little interlude, probably 2 or 3 minute interlude with Ivy Ling Poe in the forest where she lives, we assume, playing her lute, right? First time we see the lute, right? And then a little blackbird comes along and starts tweeting at her. And then she says, "What is it, lassie? The family's stuck down a well," pretty much.
Yeah, that's true.
And then all of a sudden, Ivy Ling Poe's, not just a good fighter, but somehow like supernatural. So, and she's very much presented as like a kind of, I don't know, like a goddessy fairy kind of.
Again, I wonder what's in that lost serial or film series or whatever that is.
Yeah.
I'm so fascinated by it, in fact, that I found an image that exists from that serial, and it's now my screensaver on my.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm very, very interested to see that.
Yeah. But it's and it reminds me a lot, in a kind of a retrospective way. It reminds me a lot of the early 80s Shaw's wuxia fantasy ones, things like Buddha's Palm and Holy Flame of the Martial World and Battle Wizard. They very much seem to have that flavour that Ivy Ling Poe has. In that little interlude, these kind of semi-supernatural warriors,
right. Except, they at that point they've got 20 years of having learned to put shit together at the last minute, so they can suddenly have monsters and effects and crazy stuff.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
It is interesting too to see it before the introduction of any wire work. So, for example, like all of the scenes where people jump great distances, they've obviously filmed them in reverse. They've jumped off the top of a thing and then run the film in reverse. Or her scenes where they went to models, right? Where they went to like a Harryhausen, whatever. Like, okay, we need to build a paper mache mountain and have a little figure jump down.
I think his name was Hausen.
That's the one. But I read a review of the first film that kind of said that this person thought, like, although Come Drink With Me and One-Armed Swordsman tend to be held up as being like the kind of the real beginnings of
yes, I read this review,
But this person was saying, no, maybe not. Maybe this really actually has more DNA in this contributed more.
I know the thing is where the thing is we're looking at this through the lens of Shaw Brothers, right? And we kind of forget, and we shouldn't be blamed for it because a lot of that stuff doesn't exist anymore. But there are all those Wong Fei-hung films from the 50s and stuff, right? And some of them definitely had supernatural element. And when these films were made in the 60s, those films were still within living memory. So we have no idea really how much they might have been copied or plundered for ideas, right? And unfortunately, most of them you can't see anymore.
So, I mean, you guys know where we're going more than I do in terms of what's going to unfold over the next few years at Shaw. But, these films which have women so omnipresent right in front of the camera and where they, it feels to me like I have watched a smattering of 70s kind of Chang-Che and that stuff. And it feels to me as though women are really off screen.
I think that might be a Chang-Che.
That's definitely a Chang-Che.
Okay, so
I
there
think
are
films around it might be slightly more less sausage.
Watch a bit of Wong Feng, and then you'll understand.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, I mean, yes, no, I can see what you're saying regarding these films being in the DNA of later kind of wuxia films, for sure. But also, we've already seen a bit of wuxia at Shaw's up until this point. There's already wuxia's already around, and also I think you kind of look back at lists of films from the 30s, 40s, 50s, Shaw's and non-Shaw, and there are a lot of fantasy films, or films with fantasy elements.
They cause me to salivate, I have to say.
Yeah.
We don't have.
Well, it's like hopping vampire films from the 1930s, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a thing back then. And no doubt other supernatural fantasy elements are in films.
No, it just goes. It's like when you hear about the King Kong films that they made in Japan in the 30s, right? You're like, what now?
Yeah.
Right.
So, is anyone? Does anyone have? I mean, the Sword and the Lute.
Well, before we get to Sword and the Lute, let's quickly talk about the ending.
Right.
Because I think, and we're spoiling this, so no one,
spoiler alert.
So again, there's this big kind of battle, and they let all the monks free, and they've set the temple on fire, and then the big boss of the evil big boss of the Red Lotus Temple, who we've never seen before, just shows up and says, "Oi, you've been picking on my lads." And then he kicks the shit out of everyone. Then Ivy Ling Po turns up, kicks the shit out of him, but with like pressure point acupuncture stuff. And then Wang Yu just kills him like a fucking coward.
Yeah. It's astonishing. It's the most damp squib of a revenge. It's like, it's so far from the "my name is Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die." Like it's
exactly.
He's the guy's literally frozen, and he just walks up and slashes him across the chest.
Yeah, in fact, Wang Yu is the Scrappy-Doo of this series of films.
Yes.
It's just he's annoying, he's completely ineffectual, and he runs his mouth quite a bit, and he hasn't got the backup.
Not at all.
The only difference between him and Scrappy-Doo, though, is Scrappy-Doo is always kind of, let me at him. And Wang Yu is very much hiding behind people.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he's waiting until someone's been softened up.
I mean, it's literally, it's like his aunt is holding the guy on the ground, and it's like, come on over, like.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Is Wu Ma in all of three of these? Am I right in thinking
he's everywhere? He's everywhere in the mid.
I realized this week more than any other week because we had watched, what was it, The Heroes, which is like 1980 kind of basher-y thing. And then he's in these 60s wuxia, and then he's in Exorcist Master, right, from 1990 whatever. And I was like, is Wu Ma just in 80% of all?
Yeah, he's just in everything.
Everywhere. I feel as if Wu Ma is maybe like between him and Lo Li, frogs are well represented.
The amphibian
But
community.
he's got
Surely
that
he's a bit
kind
more of a newt, I think.
Newt,
But
yeah.
he's got
The
that
amphibians.
Takashi Shimura
Yeah,
frog
he's certainly
lips.
he's certainly amphibious.
Oh, there's no doubt
say
with that.
You know,
Yeah,
we're in the right genus, just not the right species. You know,
right.
or whatever way around
Yes.
that is. Yeah, and that's it then. And then, but then, you know, Wang Yu and Ivy Ling Po still have to go. Not Ivy Ling Po, Chin Ping still have to go for further training because they're still shit at fighting.
And we haven't talked about it, but they do have a special. They have a yin yang sword technique. They have been
which
totally taught.
you don't really see anywhere because they're
Yeah.
not good enough at fighting in either of these two films up until this point, do they?
No, she's better than him though, for sure. And then I love, so in the last film, like basically he's given one job, Wang is given one job. He's like, whatever you do, just take a very dangerous weapon of mass destruction.
Don't show it to anyone.
Don't show it to anyone.
Don't tell
lose it.
anyone you've got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just bring it so it can be destroyed. And
Yeah, he turns from whatever he is in the first two films. He becomes Dougal in the third one, doesn't he? He's like, right, Ted, I won't tell him. Hey, you over there, look at this thing I've got.
pretty much, yeah. And
He's a
I love
fucking liability, is what he is.
There's a truly great little scene where he finally gets back to Auntie Ivy Ling Po and tells her, I fucking lost the LUTE, and she just gets in this withering, this fucking hell.
What
Is sure we're related.
in you? I don't get it.
But we should explain what the LUTE is, right? Because
Yes.
that's kind of the whole
The
that's the
murder
whole
LUTE.
MacGuffin. The
Yeah,
murder.
and it is introduced in the second film, but then
It
yeah,
is
doesn't
such a
really
brilliant.
play.
It should be the centerpiece of a giallo as well from the 70s.
Oh yeah.
The murder
Yeah.
LUTE.
Yeah,
Well, again, but it's in between. It's in between, like a Jallo MacGuffin and the Gatling gun out of.
Django. Yeah, it is
Django.
a bit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
totally.
think it's
It's very spaghetti western actually. There was a lot of like trick guns and stuff in spaghetti western,
Bingo
right?
cars
Yeah,
out
yeah.
once again.
Yes.
yeah.
True though.
Almost a
Yeah,
full
so-
house.
So the LUTE is full of needles,
Hmm.
right? That are somehow magnetic, I think. And as soon as you press the right button on the LUTE, it shoots 1,000 needles into someone.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it can do it on repeat like a machine gun.
Yeah.
This is a fucked gig if you hit the wrong note, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. We're just going to make sure you're stood on the right side of Ivy Ling Po when she's,
Yeah.
you know, when she...
Knocking out a tune.
Exactly, yeah.
I can imagine Nigel Farage getting a handle of this. And next year when Glastonbury comes out and people are singing, oh, Jeremy Corbyn again, he hits the note and sends all these needles and kills everyone.
Or just get Ivy Ling Po to play the murder LUTE and make sure Nigel is standing in the right
Yes.
spot.
That'd
Oh,
be
that
all
would
right.
When
be
you give her a
awesome. That
little
would-
nudge.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not siding with the Nigel on anything.
No.
But yes, so this one basically, well, what's great is that I think even the filmmakers have realized that maybe Wang Yu should just be not really in the film very much because he's really barely in this one.
It's amazing he had a fucking career after this, to be fair.
Yeah,
Although
these
this is the
three.
same year as One-Armed Swordsman, right?
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
funny
And,
actually.
and after what's it called? Not Come Drink With Me. The sequel that Chang-Che did,
Oh, Golden Swallow.
Golden Swallow.
Okay.
Golden
It's funny-
Swallow's 66, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the very first movie, in Lotus, Red Lotus Temple, there's actually a scene when he's going to leave the compound, and one of the aunties or granny says, "You better leave your arm behind then." And I thought, "Oh, there's a bit of foreshadowing for most of the rest of his career." But
It is an interesting thing, isn't it, to consider that you had this young actor. Yeah, he's not really cutting. Or at least he could have stayed in that lane of a kind of milk toast or something.
Mhm.
And then what he needed to do was lose an arm.
Well, lose an
And
arm
then-
no,
Yeah.
the secret ingredient, I'm adamant on this, the secret ingredient is stubble.
Yes, I agree. He
Yeah, maybe
definitely
that's true.
gets
Yes,
a bit of
he's
beard.
not baby faced. Any, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have the chin. Like he needs a bit. Yeah, he needs a bit of
Yeah.
structure to the face there.
So
Yes.
basically, he went through puberty a bit late.
I think so. Sometime in
He's
1966.
a late
Because I
bloomer.
guess
Yeah.
the shore, because he was a swimmer before then, right? And I guess the shore regime was so punishing that yeah, puberty was delayed, you know.
Right.
And then suddenly he's got and then hang on now, this guy's looking a bit more, like a hero. If only he'd lose that arm,
That's
he'd
it.
onto something.
Yeah. So he's barely in it. So really, this film is it's Bobo's film, right? It's the
Yeah. Well, her and Yu Hua as well, and Lo Li.
yes, and Loli. Well, yeah, who returns, and initially you're kind of I was like, wait a second, who is he playing? Like we clearly saw his head get hacked off in the last film,
Yeah.
but it turns out that he's not just been, cast playing a completely different character. He's the younger brother of the
And no one recognised him as
no,
the
which is
twin
kind of
brother
funny because they're identical.
Yes,
Kermit's brother.
that's it.
Yes.
What's the little one called? Robin.
Yes,
There we go.
Nice reference. But yeah, so most of the film is basically just it's a lot of back and forth, right? It's like
It's the LUTE changes ownership quite a few times,
and the sword
and
as
then
well.
the sword changes,
Boring.
and then the stone.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
the
stone, the
stone.
cheap looking fucking colourful
amethyst.
stone thing.
Yeah.
I mean that's such a Achilles heel for this film as well, I think, because everything else looks in its right place, and then suddenly there's this shabby fucking piece of Christmas decoration, and it's just you could have
Which is
so
a
much
magnetic
better than that.
crystal, which makes no sense really as well. But it's a magnetic crystal that will draw the needles out.
Yeah, so if you get shot, that's the only cure. If you get shot by the LUTE, you have to have the stone to magnetize the needles out of you.
No, this.
But yeah, it just seems
it's a bit bollocks, and it's quite boring, I would say. I don't think many people are going to defend. So like I said, the only thing going for it is you do at least get to see the murder LUTE in action.
Yeah, and the end. The end is legit good, but it takes. You've got to sit through too much to get there.
Yeah.
And I do think the passing of the torch to the 11-year-old niece is something I've not really seen in a trilogy of action films ever, where over the three films, a young, lady becomes the center of the whole kind of
and
thing.
she's like outsmarting everyone as well. She's putting decoy swords under her bed, so Loli steals that instead, and all that business.
It's never annoying because often kids they tend to be a very precocious thing, and there's a lot.
She's just on the edge, isn't she? She's never quite annoying.
But she never steps over to the point where you're grinding your teeth and being
good casting, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, it's there's, and again, I think the whole Yu Hua character is just there to give Yu Hua a bit of a step up. There's actually no reason for the stone or Yu Hua to be anywhere near the film, really. It's just an additional layer, probably insisted on the studio after Come Drink With Me.
Well, I am wondering, and because we can't see the earlier Lotus Temple serials, I am wondering if this might have been originally projected as a duology, and Twin Swords was such a hit. Assuming it was, I don't know if it was, and then they decided to just do Sword in the Loop.
Yeah, but it's weird though because there's a 2-year gap though.
Yeah.
So knowing Shaw Brothers as we know Shaw Brothers, we know Ni Kwang can whack out, or Chang Che can whack out a script in 5 minutes, and we know they can mobilise production
5 minutes
in a couple of months.
while he's having a nap, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. But there's a 2-year gap between this and the Twin Swords, which is not consistent, I don't think, with rushing this into production to capitalise on.
Yeah, well, that's why
success.
I'm wondering if it took a while to settle, and they realised they had, rather than it was ready and primed to go. If you see what I mean.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it does seem, like you said, the other two films are part 1, part 2, and then this is just.
Yeah.
Funny, it does
against
tie
them.
up a few. It does tie up a few loose ends, though. Other than, well, obviously they introduced the LUTE, and it doesn't really pay off in the second film.
Well, that's
And
the other reason I'm thinking they were when they were brainstorming, they thought, oh, do you remember that cool loot thing we had in that scene? Let's bring that back. And in the interim, I mean, who knows how much people are paying attention to world cinema, but you brought it up and just flippantly, but it might actually be a thing. Django.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they also, so the villains are different in this. They're the Flying Tiger clan, but at one point the Flying Tiger clan pulls all the other bandit clans together, and he like
Including the Red Lotus Temple.
yeah, including the villains from the first film, the leftover villains. First
That's
film.
what I mean. It seems a little bit tacked on, doesn't it?
But it does allow Lo Li to then do his revenge, right, and say, "You killed my older brother, prepare to die."
But that's an easy thing to bring. That's an easy thing to bring back, though, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
You just play the, yeah.
So, I mean, I would say, sort of concluding on this film, number one, the bit where Ivy Ling Po comes in at the end and sorts everything out is fucking cool.
Yes.
Where they shoot her with the thing, there's this haze of needles flying at her, and she just spins her sword around and deflects all the needles, and then sorts it all out.
You've
Wonderful.
been bored.
Exactly. Yes. Aside from that, I don't think there's any reason to watch this film in connection with the other two.
No, agreed.
I think this is just
Yeah.
optional extra if you're interested.
Well, I'm a bit
after
more
the end.
hardcore. I would just say go Twin Swords.
Yeah.
If you have to, but I think I maybe like Red Lotus more than you, but also I do
Well,
see it as
it's not bad. It's not bad.
I see it as one film, really.
I mean, you don't need an excuse to watch Jinping for 90 minutes. So, that's... Yeah,
No.
that's fine. Yeah.
I think I'm with you. I think you need the two, because I think the two you just need the first one for context. And I think that the Twin Swords is a poorer film without Temple of the Red Lotus before it.
I think what you're trying to say, lads, is Ghoulies and Ghoulies 2, but you don't need to go to college.
No. No.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Yes.
I do also like Ivy Ling Po has a really great line at the very end of this. There's a point at which there's the kind of the rump of the bad guys are still there, and she's like, "Do you want to just fuck off? Like, do you want to just drop your weapons and go? I can kill you all, but you could also just leave." And then Bobo is like, "No, we need to kill them." And she stops and she goes, "No. In future, come what may, try always to avert a massacre." And I thought that's useful advice for many world leaders, I mean, all around the globe. There's many people in positions of power who can learn from, if you can.
In the Middle East.
The Ukraine. There's all kinds of places in the world where we could be doing a better job. The US, we're changing.
Just martial law over there at the moment.
Inching dangerously close to massacres.
Yeah.
So no. Thanks, Ivy. Useful advice.
Yes. Right. Does that bring us to a close?
I think so.
Yeah.